To thousands of tourists who visit Prince Edward Island each year, this summer retreat is the Garden of the Gulf or the beloved home of Lucy Maud Montgomery. But to more and more educators from across Canada and even the United States, Prince Edward Island is the location of Holland College. This small community college, approximately 600 students, has become a special attraction to those concerned with individualized instruction and education. It is not difficult to find individualized or personalized instruction being implemented by a few teachers in almost every educational institution. However, Holland College is, practically speaking, totally committed to its own unique method of individualization. In fact, it may be the only such school in North America. The main campus is located in the former Prince of Wales College in downtown Charlottetown, with a satellite campus in Summerside. The college offers post-secondary training in the fields of business, technology, and applied arts. All students are enrolled in programs using what is called the STEP approach to instruction. The acronym STEP means Self-Training and Evaluation Process. This process is based upon a number of principles outlined in the college's philosophy paper, In Step with Holland College. First of all, the goal of STEP is to help learners assume responsibility for their own development while acquiring the skills needed to enter wage-earning employment. The role of the instructor in this system is to diagnose, assess, prescribe, tutor, but not to be the sole conveyor of information. Another principle upon which STEP is founded is that learning, not teaching, is stressed. Moreover, the learner's curriculum is based upon the identification of skills required in an occupational field, and these skills are identified not by the instructor, but by a committee of experts from that field. Students are rated in their performance of skills according to evaluation criteria in the work environment. To implement the STEP principles into an educational institution is not a simple task. Even though Holland College was, in 1969, a new school with a new staff and no established tradition, the STEP approach to instruction would probably not be flourishing today if a patient, unassuming innovator were not its president. Dr. Donald Glendenning, a native of New Brunswick, achieved his Ph.D. in education at Indiana University and has long been concerned with vocational education. He has been the president of the college since its doors opened in 1969, and for the previous 7 years was training consultant with the Departments of Labor, Manpower, and Immigration in Ottawa.
At the heart of the college's STEP system is this occupational analysis. It's a very detailed analysis of all of the skills that a person would perform in the occupation when he or she goes to work. This was first developed out in the States and brought into Canada about 10 years ago as part of a Nova Scotia New Start Corporation project down in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. We picked it up because we were then just getting underway as a new institution, and we picked it up, used it as a basic document for the development of our programs here at the college. And I must say that it has served a very, very useful purpose, and I feel it's a very important document. It's the foundation on which we build all of our programs.
The skills analysis of an occupational field is done by a committee of 8 to 15 persons who, because of their total expertise, can identify the activities performed by workers in the field. Committee members are guided through an exhausting 3 days of work by a coordinator whose major qualifications are his abilities in the method of task analysis. For example, in the spring of 1972, a group of practitioners with experience in photography, public relations, radio, television, and newspaper were gathered to analyze the field of journalism, which was to be a new Holland College program beginning in the fall of '72. It is important to note that a program instructor is not allowed to be a member of his program's task analysis committee, since he might willingly or unwittingly sway the analysis to reflect his own particular interests. After a brief orientation to the job at hand, the committee's members' first task is to identify the areas of competence in their field. Most fields can be broken up into 8 to 10 areas. For example, 3 of the 9 areas identified by the Journalism Committee are gather information, conduct interviews, and prepare written materials. Each area is written on a card, which is then attached to what in the beginning is a large blank wall. These area cards are arranged vertically in preparation for the next step, the identification of skills or terminal behaviors, which in turn are written on cards that are attached on the wall in a horizontal arrangement to the right of each area of competence. For example, two of the skills identified in the gathering information area are recognize story potential and record information accurately. At the end of 3 days, the Journalism Committee had identified over 200 skills, 20 to 30 for each of the 9 competency areas. These results were then printed in chart form. Each program's occupational step chart also includes a rating scale to assist both student and instructor in evaluating skill performance. The scale, which ranges from 0 to 4, replaces the methods of percentage or letter grades given in most traditional schools. As stated earlier, the rating criteria are those commonly found in a work environment. For example, a 1 rating means that the individual can perform the skill but requires considerable assistance or supervision. On the other hand, the 3 rating indicates the ability to perform a skill satisfactorily without any assistance or supervision. After the program instructor receives a copy of the chart committee's analysis, the work of program development begins. The first major task is to prepare a breakdown of what each skill entails. This is called skill elaborations, or in more simple terms, the skill is subdivided into half a dozen or so smaller skills. Thus, the learner is able to obtain a more complete picture of what is involved in each chart skill he learns to do. Since the instructor in this system is not to be the sole conveyor of information, and learning not teaching is stressed, then the gathering and preparation of a great variety of learning materials is absolutely necessary. Moreover, people learn in different ways. Whereas attending a group seminar on a particular topic may be most effective for one learner, another individual may learn best by studying prepared materials or performing a number of other learning activities which involve the use of audiovisual materials. Thus, the task of gathering and preparing materials is crucial. In any event, the instructor cannot survive in the system only by pulling out last year's notes for a lecture on a particular topic and then delivering the same lecture to an entire group of students at the same time. Each program has its own resource room containing the learning materials which are stored in vertical file boxes. Therefore, there may be over 200 reference boxes labeled to identify the skills on a particular program's occupational chart. More bulky learning aids, such as films, videotapes, and commercially prepared audiovisual packages, are also stored in the resource area, but reference to them are noted in the file boxes. Each program also has work areas which contain the equipment and other facilities used in the occupational field. The task of program development is not yet completed, for the instructor must go on to prepare learning activity packages which are necessary to guide the student through a logical method of learning to perform a task. The basic elements of a package are an introduction or rationale for the task, skill elaborations, pre- and post-tests, information resources, and learning activities. It is a burdensome task for a program instructor to work at developing, especially a new program, and at the same time see that students acquire the skills they need to achieve their occupational goals. Moreover, instructors generally must come from business and industry, and in most cases have had no prior training in the educational theory or methods. Thus, the college has a number of support services which directly benefit both instructors and their students. A Department of Program and Staff Development has been created to assist instructors in reaching their full potential as educators in an individualized system of instruction. The method of instruction is the same as other college programs. In addition, videotapes of predominant educators who are brought to the college during the late spring and early summer months to conduct staff seminars are available to the instructors. These include such topics as programmed instruction, utilization of media in instruction, and behavioral psychology. Moreover, like any program instructor, the Department of Program and Staff Development prepares and gathers learning aids for the benefit of staff. In fact, the occupational field of instructor in the STEP system was analyzed in 1970 by a staff committee led by Bob Adams of Nova Scotia New Start. A government grant for instructor training has provided additional funds which have resulted in the purchase of many more learning materials to which staff have access. The Division of Related Services provides not only assistance to program instructors, but also instruction to the students who require the basic academic skills of English, mathematics, and science. The division also includes the library. Its prime function is to make available print and non-print media for both leisure and study or reference purposes. The audiovisual area provides equipment and production services to all college programs. A graphics designer is included in the division's personnel team in order to create the graphics required for college-produced materials. However, all areas and related services provide both assistance to staff and learning opportunities for students. When a student first begins his work at Holland College, he is faced with a learning process that is foreign to him. He has probably just completed 12 years of schooling in a highly regimented classroom system of instruction. At Holland College, he is told there are few classes, and he must now accept the responsibility for his own learning. That is, he can't expect the instructor to begin teaching. Instead, the student must begin learning. The new student also soon learns that the college atmosphere is rather informal and therefore relaxing. He hears a number of students speaking to many instructors on a first-name basis. On the other hand, his first close look at a step chart which analyzes his occupational interests may confuse him and perhaps even intimidate him. The orientation period during his first week at college must acquaint him not only with his social surroundings, but also with the college's learning philosophy and his occupational program. Each department arranges its own orientation program to fit in with the college-wide orientation activities of a social and educational nature. In the first week, the student may also begin to rate himself on skills which he can already perform. In other words, the STEP approach recognizes and credits what the learner can already do in his occupational field. The student's pre-entry ratings must be confirmed by the instructor during subsequent interview or rating sessions, which in themselves become important learning situations. The learner is also advised on careers available within the occupational field of study so that he can begin to plan his program by obtaining an overview of skills needed to reach his goal. Naturally, an individual's goals may later change, but through numerous discussions with his instructor advisor, the learner is guided along a path of his choosing. After orientation, the student faces the task of getting started. To assist him, instructors design a number of group projects and activities which zero in on the fundamentals of the occupational field. In addition, activities in related academic subjects are assigned so that the academic instructors may begin a process of diagnosing deficiencies and prescribing individualized learning programs in their areas. Care is also taken to see that learners do not become chart-happy. In its early years, the college found that some students became so interested in obtaining chart ratings that they defeated the purpose of becoming satisfactorily competent in skills essential to their goals by attempting to obtain ratings without demonstrating sufficient competency. The development of learning projects which encompass a number of skills and which therefore enables the student to begin to see interrelationships among them is also important in getting the student started on his career path. Each year, the time required for most students to adjust to the college's learning philosophy shortens as they learn to accept that along with an apparent freedom, there goes a great deal of responsibility. All programs in Holland College utilize advisory committees comprised of people from business and industry. They may monitor program content and enable instructors to keep in touch with industry. It is college policy that every 3 years the occupational chart is revised and updated. The advisory committee decides if changes are necessary and may even suggest further revisions. In this way, the task analysis is kept up to date. Moreover, committees, along with instructors, are now identifying skill profiles. Whereas a chart is an analysis of a field, a profile is the analysis of an occupation within the field. For example, 2 profiles identified on the chart for journalism students are photojournalist and newspaper reporter. Advisory committee members may be drawn from the original ad hoc chart committee. When the learner exits from the college, he attains a record of achievement if he has been successful in meeting skill requirements for a particular occupational profile. The record includes ratings achieved in all skills learned so that the potential employers may see for themselves exactly what the individual can do and at what level of performance. Provisions are made to encourage employers to add and update skill ratings so that there will be an ongoing description of his occupational development. Students who do not meet requirements for an occupational profile are provided with a chart showing the skills attained or work completed. It would be unrealistic to suggest that Holland College has not encountered many problems in its attempt to establish a unique individualized system of instruction. However, those who use educational technology concepts in their efforts to give students a personalized and effective form of education can appreciate the difficulties inherent in the task. Meanwhile, thousands of tourists will come to admire the scenic beauties of Prince Edward Island. But among them, there is that band of educators who come to see Holland College first and eat lobster later.